there's moments in my own career where I have felt I'm trying to articulate myself, and I realize that the way I'm being looked at is, oh, there she goes again, being a woman and being emotional and stuff.
How do we approach mentorship and opening doors for other young women?
Representation matters, and it's not just a line that should be used or taken lightly. The other people in the room won't understand what it means for a Black woman.
Rolling. That's it. Nice. I think I'm getting you really. Yeah, lighting is good. Everything is perfect. So with the posing, try turn your body slightly towards this way. Yeah, that's it. Nice.
I mean, look, my torso is snatched.
But I think it's comfortable, isn't it?
No, it is. It's fine.
It's
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect. No, I like the look right now. Perfect. Look at me, yeah? That's it. Chin up slightly. All right. Perfect. So when people hear your title, they think about boardrooms and strategies.
Yeah.
But before all that, who is Khensani Nobanda?
Yeah. Khensani Nobanda is a young girl from Swaziland, Eswatini.
That's right.
She was born, I always say to people, in a mud hut. And my mom says, no, baby, mud home. But it was mud, right?
Yeah, but it was a home.
It was a home,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I come from, my mom is half Swati, half Portuguese.
That's right.
My dad is from Orlando.
Okay.
He's from Soweto.
Ah.
He left South Africa when he was 17 to go into exile with the MK. He met my mom in Swaziland.
Okay.
I'm the eldest.
Oh, nice.
Gang, gang for the eldest kids, holding it up.
Yeah.
I have 3 siblings, my sister Bianca, my brother Alex, and my sister Lulu. All of us happen to be, by the way, in the creative world. I'm probably the most professional. I'm in marketing.
Okay.
My sister studied film. My brother studied animation. My younger sister studied advertising. So this coming from a teacher mom
Yes,
and a
to
soldier
the
dad.
creative.
Yeah, we went all into very creative. I'm also a wife
That's
to my
right.
husband, Nelson. And as a marketer, I went and married an advocate because I needed some structure in my life.
That's right.
And then I'm a mom to my sister's kids, Alex, Zoe, and Amani, as well as our dog, Samuel L. Jackson. Because he had
Samuel L. Jackson.
he had to have a gangster name.
That's good. That's unique.
So that's Khensani.
That's lovely. I met your mom. I've met your mom once.
Yes, you have. Yes, you.
And
You've for my niece's matric
yes,
dance.
yes,
Absolutely.
matric dance thing. And that, which is where my love for your fridge came in, because I saw the fridge and I was like, this amazing fridge. This will look nice in my studio. And your mom would say, you know what? I think if she's able to sell to you, her husband will be so happy.
That is funny. I didn't know that was what happened. But George, we've made an agreement now. It's yours. It's yours. It's time.
Hold it.
You just need to get someone to go
Hold
fetch
it. Hold that pose.
Yeah?
Hold it. When you put your hand like that, yeah, that's it. Beautiful. Nice. So we have an agreement.
We have an agreement.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll come for the fridge. It's very, very nice. Apparently, it traveled to you to Dubai and back.
It lived in Cape Town, Dubai, and now Johannesburg. I'm just saying. It's probably got more air miles than most human beings.
Yeah. So that fridge is seen places and it's got character.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's amazing. I mean, seeing your mother and how she felt like her energy felt like a matriarch,
Yeah.
At your home. What values were instilled in you growing up as a child from both sides of the family?
From my family.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. Firstly, if you think about where I grew up, I always say that my story was never meant to be for a child who comes from a rural place in Swaziland, and a dad who comes from Soweto, where the system was such that he was never meant to be any level of success.
That's right.
When you think about the fact that I sit on an exco of a bank, of one of the biggest 4 banks on the continent, it's actually incredible, but it is what it is, right? It's here because it's what I'm doing. And it comes from how I was brought up.
That's right.
If you think about both my parents, my mom and my dad, they were the first ones in their families to have an education. And they still are to actually go to have degrees. So I was brought up to really be clear that education is the thing that was going to ensure that I was going to become successful. So even as a kid, my parents would tell stories about how Bianca was 5 years younger than me. When we get picked up in the morning to go to school by the school bus, and my sister would be like making me late. At 12, I would say, Bianca, you're affecting my career, you're affecting my life. So I already had that,
Yeah, you had that too.
Was always going to be fundamental to my success.
Yeah, you were born for it.
I was born for it.
You were born for it. That's where you came.
And then my dad always instilled in me, which is the line that I live with, that no one can tell you who you can or cannot be.
Exactly.
What you can or cannot be, and what you can or cannot do. Ultimately, where your life plays out, how it plays out is going to be up to you completely. You've got it in all your hands.
That's right.
And so I live with that all the time, to the extent that even when I was at Harvard and I made, as class speaker, made my speech, I dedicated it to my dad in the context of actually our purpose is in our hands, because that's how I was brought up, and I was brought to believe in dreams.
That's right.
And maybe before I get to my mom, part of believing in dreams is even when I was a kid in Eswatini, when I told my parents that I want to be an astronaut, at no stage did anyone say that's not going to happen. They were very clear that how can a 4-year-old kid land up in the United States at NASA? But they encouraged it. And then even when I said I want to be a lawyer. And so like my dreams were never, they never stopped me from having dreams.
So try that, do that. Yeah, and then why are you looking at me? Beautiful. Go. Beautiful. Yeah, that's it. Over. Try. Okay.
If I think about my professional journey, there were a couple of moments that defined it. Firstly, just getting hired at Unilever at the age of 21 to be the assistant brand manager on Rama Margarine, which was the biggest foods brand at that time for Unilever South Africa. And I was really lucky because I majored in marketing and information systems. And all my job offers were actually in IT.
Oh, really?
So my one job offer in marketing was the Unilever one. And it was the one that paid me the least, by the way.
Wow.
But I knew I wanted to be a marketer.
Yeah.
So that was, it started me off. And then given a lot of responsibility from a very young age, where I was asked, Rama used to sponsor the Rama Bona Women's Club. And I was asked to look at if we should continue to sponsor it. And I did a whole thing around it. And I came back with analysis and said, I think we should can it. And as a 21-year-old, when the company listens to they canned it, and I was like, I can't believe they actually listened to me.
Yeah, because of your input.
You know what I mean? And it gave me a lot of confidence around just my marketing chops, I guess. And then I left Unilever and went to Diageo for 2 years. Unilever did call me back. And so I became their youngest ever category director at the age of 25. I was looking after the tea category. And that was just basically someone really believing in me. It was really for potential. But what they did is they put a group of people around me to ensure that I was successful, whether it was the marketing managers reporting to me, or it was my mentors or my coaches. And then after that I went to Dubai for 3 years where I looked after the skin category. So I know you did the Vaseline, the very famous ad. But Vaseline was one of my brands, Dove, Lux, Pond's, and I looked after Africa, Middle East and Turkey. Then I took a break from working for various reasons. And maybe my, I guess, last defining moment was joining Nedbank. Because if you think about it, I joined in 2017, September, and I joined at a level lower than me. But before I could join, the guy who I was meant to be reporting to, the Chief Marketing Officer, Tulani, resigned. And so I decided I was going to apply for his job even before I joined Nedbank. And I remember my mom saying, you haven't even started and you want a promotion.
You want promotion.
I've got nothing to lose.
Yes.
And so I joined 2017 September, and in 2018 January I got promoted onto Group Exco, which is a lesson on like really going for what you want and not being nervous about the outcome of it. Because the worst that could have happened is they would have said no.
That's right.
And I still would have had a great job at Nedbank, but I ended up becoming the Chief Marketing Officer a lot quicker than I ever envisioned.
And I think the take home, what I'm getting from you is when you started with Unilever, it was the least paying job,
Yeah.
but you took it anyway.
Yeah.
And that propelled you, you know, in your career journey. And sometimes, like when we pray for something, we ask for something, we are looking for that specific, like this is what say, I pray for a car.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the car I want. But somebody will call you for a job and the job is not what you want. You turn it down, but you don't know that it's that job that will help you to get that car.
Absolutely.
So
I love
that's
that,
like-
George, because I went to what is known as the University of Marketing globally.
yeah.
So I'm a marketer right now because of the foundations that were built at Unilever.
That's right.
Where it was the least paid job.
Hold that for me. Look down. We're looking down. Yeah, drop your hands there. One more. Yeah, so I didn't mean to cut off there, but based on your personal life and, you know, growing up, you know, your family, seeing your leadership ability, what were the hardest transition, you know, into coming to executive leadership?
The hardest transition was managing my emotions, controlling myself. It's very hard. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and as a leader, just because I'm angry at the moment doesn't mean I need to walk into a room and give that anger. Doesn't mean I'm not allowed to not be happy about things that people are doing, but I need to moderate my emotions, because the last thing you want is your team doesn't know how to respond to you because they don't know what mood you're going to be in. I used to be a very moody 23-year-old.
Me too. I was very moody kid.
And so Harm Fusans actually said to me one day that your emotions impact a room. So when you're in a bad mood, the room becomes in a bad mood. If you're in a good mood, the room is in a good mood. You can't allow yourself as a leader to have that emotional impact on people because they're not going to deliver for you.
That's right.
So what I've learned is no matter how I'm feeling, I will tell the team, but I need to moderate how I come across. And even if I'm in a bad mood, because it doesn't mean, by the way, George, that you shouldn't be authentic, because that's one of my biggest values. It just means understand the impact that you have on others. And as leaders, that is unfortunately, you know, what I would call the burden of leadership is we've got to inspire people to do better. And if we don't moderate ourselves, then I think we're not going to lead as best as we can.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I leak, by the way, but what I've also learned over time, and when I say leak, sometimes I don't know how to moderate it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But what I've learned over time is to give myself grace, is to be able to say, that's fine, that was a mess up, why, what happened?
Yeah.
And then don't repeat that, you know? So I don't get angry at myself to be like, oh, but you did that, you know? I don't.
Yeah.
Like, we're all human.
You give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think managing emotions is very, very important as well. Like today, with a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and I decided, okay, no, I need to take a deep breath because I don't want to come here and feeling moody.
Exactly.
You know? And it happens sometimes. Things don't go according to plan on shoot. And as the photographer, sometimes I can have about 20 people on set that I'm managing.
Yeah.
And I have to show up regardless. The client still wants their results.
Yeah.
So we have to manage the emotion, be nice. I go home and I go, phew, that was a day.
And it works out. Think about it. If I had walked in, because I was running late as well.
That's right, yeah.
And if I had walked in and then been flustered and moody, and I don't think we would be able to have this level of conversation in such a comfortable way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think you can have a debrief afterwards to say what could we have done better. But in the moment, show up.
Yeah.
For me, that's much more important.
Yeah, showing up, regardless, show up.
Yeah.
Even this other individual, like, even though they were 2-3 hours late, they could have still showed up.
Absolutely.
You know? So, but I mean, with that in mind, like, what did you have to unlearn, you know, in being in leadership? You know, what did you have to unlearn about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. I always sometimes think if I do something, I can do it quicker than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I had to I guess learn, unlearn, I'm not sure, but realize that firstly, potentially other people can do it better than me. And just let it go.
Yeah.
And it actually gave me so much freedom to focus on actually the more important things instead of being in detail that, by the way, when you're in that detail, you've got a team of people who are not growing because you constantly are trying to do the things that actually they can do and you many times do better than you. So I had to teach myself that I'm not the best at everything. I've grown up winning.
Yes.
Leading.
Yeah.
And so you can have a capacity to think that you're the only one and you're the best. And actually, in many instances, my team has shown me that I'm not. I've learned so much from them on things where I potentially would have thought, not potential, I would have thought, I think I could do this better. And then when they've done it, I've gone, no, I would have messed this up royally.
Yeah. And same position, but turn your eyes towards my lens. That's it. Give me a smirk. That's it. That's beautiful. That's it. And smile. That's it. Beautiful. Use one hand and that one hand. Just one hand. Yeah.
The same one.
Actually, use both. Do both. Cool. And then go. That's it. Go. Yeah. That's it. Don't smile now, but do it. Yeah. Keep doing it. One more. I think I've captured something that I haven't seen you before in there. So that's beautiful. So it's still low now, shooting so much that, okay. All right. Hello, Kenzie.
Hey, George, fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, it's lovely seeing you again. Seems like yesterday when I saw you. Yeah, how have you been?
I've been good. I've had a great day.
Yeah. And you enjoyed the shoot?
I really did. I think for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
One, I think the outfit, the dress I was wearing is not something I'd normally wear. And so I love how it took me out of my comfort zone. I've never done a photo shoot where I'm being asked questions as well. So that was really interesting. And you guys have made me feel so welcome. It's been warm. Thank you.
That's good. And I'll tell everybody me asking you a question on the shoot is nothing different from how I conduct my photo shoot with my private clients.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Because that's how I get to draw something out of them. Because some people, they're very timid, right?
Yeah.
And then me clicking the shutter, do this. Now you gotta, and sometimes when I share a bit of myself, then it kind of opens the door for them to also share something. And then
that actually reminds me, when you were taking pictures of my niece for matric dance, you asked her a lot of questions actually about herself because she's quite shy. And then she started really, loosening up. And I remember that now.
I remember rocking in and she was doing makeup and I said, "Oh, I'm Sky." She was very, very, but yeah, that's really great, But I'm glad that you were able to connect again.
Yeah.
Question I have for you, in terms of in the females in the workplace, you being mostly in your career in executive level, how has your experience as a female in a boardroom been like?
Yeah, I think firstly, I guess the one myth I really want to just start off by saying this is not true, is that female leaders don't support each other. My experience in my career has been my first boss, Litepu Machaba, was, in fact, treated me like her daughter in a sense and ensured that coming straight from varsity as a 21-year-old, she gave me a landing pad at Unilever that was so supportive. And so from the very beginning, my experience of female bosses has always been fantastic. I guess as a female executive, one of the things that I've had to lean into and grow into is to realize that I don't have to be a man. And I think as female bosses, we're expected to show up a particular way. And a couple of years ago, I decided that wasn't going to be for me. And if there's anyone, I would give advice to is a lot of the qualities that women have naturally. So for example, empathy, kindness, those are actually superpowers. And it's unfortunate that they get looked at as weaknesses when it comes to being a leader or a boss. I think women, when they bring those qualities to the table, they actually become much better managers of people, much better leaders of people. And so whilst we can learn from men, there's many things we can learn from men, I think we should absolutely lean into what comes naturally to us as women.
Yeah, I think when I used to be in corporate many years ago in Canada, I held how many? 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And all the 3 jobs, my managers and supervisors were females.
And they were amazing, right?
And they were amazing, you know. And I think those are ways how they lead.
Absolutely.
You know, they were more, I'll say, graceful in how they led and how they actually help people to also climb up. They try to give other people opportunity, you know, say, okay, I think, George, you'll be good for this position. Is that there's a vacancy coming up, you know, you should do this and apply for it.
Absolutely.
You know, and I felt that, you know, in a way, even in my everyday life, when there's a woman leading a project, they do better than this differently, you know. So my next question is, do you think that women are expected to lead differently than men?
I think in the past, we were certainly expected to lead in the very similarly to men. If you were not tough talking, you know, people talk about the handshake, like firm handshake, walk
squeeze,
in, you know, like all of that stuff. And if it doesn't come naturally to you, I really think that's okay for me, right? And I think that's where things have shifted, you know, particularly for women in the last few years. What was obvious, and I always make this example about COVID, if you think about the female presidents or prime ministers around the world, or the presidents and prime ministers who did the best in handling the COVID crisis for their countries, it was actually female leaders.
That's right.
Because they could understand the technicalities of what was happening, the science of what was happening, but they also brought empathy, they brought care to ensuring that their citizens were able to come out of what was fundamentally the greatest crisis we'd ever experienced as humankind in a very long time. And so I think the expectation that you need to lead as a man is no longer as high. I know for myself, I lean into everything that makes me Kensi. There's qualities I love, by the way, about men. So, you know, I know, for example, you know, when guys who report to me, they'll walk into a performance review. And so we've got a scale of, I think it's falling short, which is like you didn't do well, and excelling, which is top performing. Men normally come in and be like, I was excelling. And you're like, I don't think so, right? Whereas with women, they'll come in and be like, no, I just did my job, I was performing, when they did extremely well. But that's what's the great thing about having a female leader. They're able to actually draw you and say, no, just think about what you did for the year. Think about potentially you actually did much more. Because I want you to be able to articulate for yourself just how well you did.
That's right.
Because then you own it. And then all my job is to do is just to stamp it and underline it. So yeah, there's things we can learn from men around being much more confident, you know, but we don't have to lead like men at all.
Do you think there are do you think there are unspoken pressures that women in leadership face?
Yeah, look, so I mean, for example, if I'm emotional in a board meeting, and when I say emotional, I mean, if I care deeply about something and I go, I'm not happy with that, I find that it's, maybe I'll say, let's say remuneration, because remuneration is a big one. And we'll look at REM and we'll discuss it. And I'll say, I don't think this is fair. I don't think we're doing the right thing. The conversation afterwards is, geez, wasn't she emotional? Instead of actually just focusing on the issue at hand, which was the REM discussion was not a fair one. You know what I mean? So there's moments in my own career where I have felt I'm trying to articulate myself, and I realize that the way I'm being looked at is, oh, there she goes again, being a woman and being emotional and stuff. And so what I've learned is I don't care anymore. I really don't care. How I'm going to show up is how I want to show up. Or if my team calls me a cryist. So crying, for example, as a leader, you're not meant to cry if you're a leader or a boss. And my team calls me a cryist because I really do empathize with a lot of things. I get like things that, you know, I feel emotional about stuff. And what I learned a few years ago was vulnerability, again, is actually a massive superpower as a leader. So my sister committed suicide, I think it was end of 2022.
I'm sorry to hear.
And thanks, Jordan. I went through a period where I just wasn't okay. I was in massive grief, but I continued working and just didn't deal with it. And so in 2023, it was March or April, I think, I stood in front of my team and I said to them, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I need to take a break. I need to go away somewhere for a retreat and just heal. And it's not obviously grief. You don't heal immediately. It takes time. What was powerful, I think, and I didn't realize it at that moment. At that moment, all I knew was I needed to tell my team where I was and how I was feeling and why I was going to do what I needed to do. The number of people, men and women in my team, who came to me afterwards and said, what a powerful leadership moment for themselves, because they've never heard a leader get so emotional and tell them that I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And it allowed my team to be able to actually step up for themselves as well, if they're not okay mentally or there's something going on. And so, I think I've just chosen that whatever the world looks at and thinks this is a great leader, the macho-ness, the strong, I'm not going to be emotional, I'm not, going to be vulnerable. For me, that does not work for me. So when I said to my team that I personally wasn't okay and I needed to take some time out for myself and go on a personal retreat, I obviously at that moment was very vulnerable and was quite emotional and quite teary-eyed as I was telling them. And the impact I didn't realize was going to be much more massive actually on them versus me, because I had a lot of them, men and women, come to me to say they've never experienced a leader who can stand up and say, I'm not okay, I need help. And it allowed them to be able to articulate for themselves what they were going through and get the help that they need. But also just realize that we don't always have to show up in this very manly, we're okay, we go through life, like we're human, you know what I mean? I've figured for myself a few years ago that if you want the best of Khensi as a leader, then it comes with a lot of authenticity, vulnerability, and that's okay.
Come with a full package.
Full package.
That's right. So in terms of, I know that research, I don't know which year it was, but it says that the gender ratio in the workplace is really changing. Like in the 60s, 70s, you see maybe 60, 70% of men in leadership and then also in the corporate sector. Now it's flipping. Now, how true is that? Because I haven't been in a corporate,
for some time, yeah. Look, I think there's definitely been progress. If I talk about Nedbank, if you look at the 13 executive members who run the bank, of the 13, I'm going to say 6 or 7 are women, which I think is one of the highest actually in the country, which is fantastic. I do think, though, when you look at most organizations, including ours, by the way, is that when you start, you find, literally, George, I'm not kidding, 60% of the employees are women. The more you go up, you get to a point where you find that at the executive level or at the board level, it shrinks to like 20, 30%. So as organizations, you've got to go out of your way to ensure that there's no leakage. Those people who are falling off, they're dropping off for whatever reason, and it's many different reasons, right? You've got to ensure that you've got an environment and a culture that allows them to continue to be successful in organization. And I'll tell you, so for example, it could be that someone decides to be a mom and it almost slows down their career. You've then got to create a culture that allows moms to succeed in an organization.
That's true.
It could be that because someone doesn't come across as what we expect a leader to look like, you've got to make sure that you've got a culture in the business that sees leaders in different forms and modes, and there's not one type of mode. And you know that person can actually lead people even if they don't come across as the typical sort of leader. And so have we seen more women in seeing the workplace in senior positions? Absolutely. Is there still a lot of work to be done? I again say absolutely. It's something that we need to continue to focus on.
That's good. And how do we approach mentorship and opening doors for other young women?
It is so important. There is representation matters, and it's not just a line that should be used or taken lightly. If as a Black woman, I'm sitting in a board meeting, an executive meeting, and there's a discussion where the other people in the room won't understand what it means for a Black woman, and because there's no other Black woman in the room, that conversation can actually end in a place where everyone goes, well, that just seems like, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas if there's a Black woman in the room, they can actually understand that and speak for it, because they know exactly what it means. I mean, I remember this, one of my most favorite pictures I ever saw, for example, of President Obama, was when that young Black boy touched his hair.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, the President of America looks like me, he's got the same hair as me. Because he doesn't see that, he didn't see that. And so from a mentorship perspective, unfortunately, I don't take it as, it is again the burden of leadership. When you're in the roles that we are in, you have absolutely, you cannot not mentor. You cannot not pull the ladder down for other people. You cannot sit and be on your own as a peacock and be the only successful person.
That's right.
You're not doing justice to why you are where you are. When I think about it personally for myself, I'm asked to mentor a lot of people. It did become, for me, George, if I'm honest, draining, because it was a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I created the Own Your Path mentorship platform,
Okay.
where the best way I can describe it is it's a Tinder for mentors and mentees.
Okay.
So you come on, and if you're a photographer, for example, and you see George and you're a young photographer, you match with George, and George can then mentor you. I've been incredibly lucky that I've had a lot of people who've just gone onto the platform and registered to be mentors.
Okay.
I've seen posts in the last 2-3 days at the end of the people are reflecting, talking about their own journeys on Own Your Path. And it's a platform that I've completely funded myself. And it's because, again, I realized that I personally can't do it alone. It's draining me. But how do I, and I know, by the way, a lot of people want to do it, but they can't figure out how can they give back? How can they be mentors? And so, yeah, it is, we've got to do it. I wouldn't be, not just on mentorship from women, even from men, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have people who really stood up for me.
Sure, yeah.
More than mentorship though, George, I want to speak about sponsorship, because I think it's much more important. Mentorship's great, and when you get into a mentorship relationship, you've always got to be clear, why do I want George to mentor me?
Yes.
Sponsorship, you can't ask someone to sponsor you. Your work speaks for itself. So when you as a young person talk about you want to be successful, the first thing you should do is put your head down and do your job. Then what is going to happen? When I became a category director at 25, I was at Diageo. Kees Kruithof, who was the managing director of Unilever South Africa, was in a room where they said, we're looking for the next category director for tea. And someone said, what about Kensi? I was no longer at Unilever. So sponsorship is when someone speaks for you when you're not there. They put your name in.
Yeah.
And the only reason they spoke for me was because my work spoke for itself.
Yes.
And that is what has happened in my entire career. And so what I would do is, don't think you can go and ask someone to sponsor you. It's not going to happen. But when people recognize what you do and your delivery, they will be your sponsors. And then when you're not in the room and there's a role somewhere, or there's a project somewhere, there's something, someone will go, what about George?
That's so true. And it's I think it's also in our first stories where being a photographer and being in advertising sector, there was a time that I was doing a presentation with an agency. This was in Toronto. And then one art director told me that, you know what, just the other day they were at a meeting with another client, and they were talking about a cover that I shot for, there's a magazine called Report on Business in Toronto that I shot a cover, and that person saw how the CEO was emoting from the cover, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
And it was like, I wonder how that photograph is, I think the statement went, that photographer must be good with people.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right. So when I showed the slide and said, oh, are you the one who talked? I said, yeah, well, they were talking about you in the boardroom. So, and then I got the gig.
Absolutely.
I got the job because of something that I did before, and that resonated.
Yeah.
And it's the same way it goes with you talk about representation. You know, when the Vaseline campaign went viral, I was reading somebody else. I think that guy must have been based in the UK. He said, this was his comment, he said that he showed the image to his colleagues at his agency in the UK, and all of them say, no, that's an abuse. Because they saw a child's face being...
That is insane.
Yeah, they thought like, then he explained, because that guy
because they don't have the context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then he explained to them the context, you know, how it works in Africa. And so imagine that campaign was given to...
It would never been approved.
Yeah.
This is fundamentally, I mean, I love that story so much. I know when we filmed Secrets for Nedbank, which is one of our most successful campaigns we ever filmed, one of the storylines that our agency, Joe Public, and I love them, and Greg Garden, the director, one of the storylines was this stereotypical idea that of a young black guy who lives in Midrand, drives a BMW, but has no furniture in their house. And I said to them, our brand is not going to be the brand that tells stereotypical stories. So imagine if the CMO of the bank was not a black woman, potentially we would have made that story, right? Because someone would have said then today, I think that feels, you know, so this is why representation matters.
It does matter really, really. In terms of like, with all your success, everything like, you know, the good, the bad, you know, what has been the sacrifice?
I mean, I'll start off the bet by saying, because it's probably a question a lot of people have about me, because I chose not to have kids. And I chose not to have kids at a young age. But I think what I always wanted to make clear was that wasn't the sacrifice for my career. It was just
for your own personal.
for my own personal, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
What I do think has been, I would say my health, to be honest, and both physically and mentally. When I was speaking to my team at the end of the year now, and I've made this thing for myself 2 years in a row, and I just haven't been able to do it. I want to be able to say no more often, George. I always get to the end of the year feeling exceedingly drained, not feeling mentally that I've taken care of myself. One of the things I know is that when I wake up every day and meditate, I have a much better day. But if I've got an 8 o'clock meeting, I'm not meditating. I'm for my work, you know, so my work is always ahead of my health.
That's important.
And yeah, for me, that's a sacrifice that I don't think is worth it, especially the older I get. It's not, you know, we've got to look after ourselves. Yeah, I would say that, but I mean, George, marketing has given me a life beyond belief.
That's great. That's great.
And so I can talk about my health in that way. At least I know and understand, you know, but it has given me a life I never dreamt of. When I was with my mom speaking at the United Nations, I was asked to be one of the 25 chief marketing officers across the world. I was the only African, and asked to talk about how brands and marketing can play a role in landing the Sustainable Development Goals. And of the 25 of us, they asked 4 of the CMOs to come to the United Nations to speak, and I took my mom, because I couldn't believe, like, who wants to hear me speak at the United Nations? My mom will, you know? Yeah. And so opportunities like that are unbelievable for me. And they come from the fact that I work in this unbelievable industry. So even with sacrifices, I'm okay.
That's really good. And you talked about the meditation, but, you know, how do you stay grounded in this high pressure environment?
I mean, I am lucky enough that I have the same group of friends that I've had from varsity, from when I started working at Unilever. And as you would know, no one will ground you faster than your friends that have known you for years.
That's true. Yeah.
You will try be like, and your friends will be like, please, girl, we know you win.
Yeah.
So that really helps. Also, I don't know, man. I've just been lucky that I surround myself with a team, whether it's my marketing leadership team, who we connect really well with. We tease each other. We had our year-end lunch 2 days ago.
Okay.
And if you were a fly on the wall, you'd like be asking yourself, is this the marketing leadership team of Nedbank? Like, the conversations are so open. We tease each other incessantly. Like, you know, they do that to me as well, right? And we do it, you know, the other way. And then, just my family as well. Really just helps to ground me. I also know I don't take it lightly where I'm at. When I go back to Swaziland and I interact with my mom's side of the family, and they are poor. That gives you a really strong sense of you can't act up.
It puts things into perspective.
It really puts things into perspective. And so we keep in touch as a family because we are like quite a connected family, and that always puts things into perspective for me around just how incredibly privileged I am to be where I am.
Yeah, I think anytime I've been to Ghana, like, you know, I was born in Ghana. I came to SA when I was 16. And whenever I go to Ghana, I go to my parents' village, you know, the village, that's where I call it my grassroots.
Exactly, the madhouse.
Yes, yes. You know, I appreciate life more whenever I'm there, because I feel like, oh, wow, I'm so privileged. And with all my struggles, with all the hardship, like, you know, I have nothing. I'm like, I have so much to be thankful for compared to. So it's very, very great to reflect on that. I mean, at this stage in your life, what does purpose mean for you?
I've got a very clear purpose, which is to show the art of the possible. And what that means is, if again I go back to where I come from, I'm not meant to be where I am. With the mom who came from a rural area, a dad who came from a place where he was told he couldn't amount to anything. And then you look at where there's two, and where I come out at. It shows the art of the possible. And so what my purpose is to show young Black girls that they're more than where they start, that their life can become much bigger than what they even believe.
I'm laughing because when you say that, you know, I had two teachers in high school. One was my principal, one was my math teacher, Mr. Headcat and Mr. Kelly. They told me, you are a man to nothing. And that's because I was a stubborn, you know, I have an ADHD, right? You probably notice, like, you know, and I couldn't sit still. So I'm always fidgeting, they always say, and I wonder where they are now. If they can see me now today.
Like, look at me now.
Yeah, you know, so, but
by the way, that stubbornness, my mom's a hoarder.
Yeah.
So she found like my school reports from Malcolm's Valley School. And consistently my school reports would say, she is so stubborn. Allow children to be stubborn, guys. Because it shows boundaries.
Yes.
It shows that they're actually able to understand what works for them and what doesn't work for them. It doesn't mean you can't discipline kids and stuff, but allow kids to be stubborn.
Allow kids to be kids and, you know, just explore. Like, we try to helicopter.
Absolutely.
You know, but anyway. So, in closing reflection, I'm going to have like some few questions for you. I mean, looking ahead, right? What excites you the most about the future of leadership in Africa?
What a great question. I actually think Africa has had great leaders for a very long time. They just haven't had global exposure. And I look at our country, South Africa, and the stance that it takes on some massive global issues, where it becomes the first country to take Israel to the ICJ, for example, whether you agree with it or not, but it's a leadership position.
That's right.
You look at how South Africa responded with the G20 and how stood up did what it needed to do.
They played the adult part.
They played, you know what I mean? And so what is clear is that there's no lack of leadership on our continent. There's lack of exposure of those leaders or allowing them to make much more global impacts. The minute you appoint them, their impact will be much more global. And it's when people, so the reason I was asked to sit on the United Nations was because I got experienced by certain people and they were like, wow, there's like leaders like this from Africa. And so for me, it's about how do we ensure that African leaders get much bigger exposure so that they can make the impact that they're meant to make and the impact that they can make, because they can actually.
Yes, right,
They
yeah.
just haven't had the exposure and the ability to, and whether even if it's running companies, who was it? I mean, I love the fact that Dangote, for example, in Nigeria, has appointed Thabo, a South African, to run one of his massive businesses.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I mean, for Thabo, maybe that might be it, but it might be a stepping stone to another. I don't know. But
Yes,
the
yes, you
minute
never know.
you
Yeah.
never know, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's about allowing African leaders to get the accessibility, the opportunities, so that they can actually make space for others, but also make an impact much more globally. So it excites me, you know.
Yeah, that's good. That's a very, very good analogy there. So what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Yeah, I am a marketer who does not want to go quietly in the night, finishing off their career. I want to be looked at as someone who really made an impact on Nedbank, the brand, on our business results. I also want to be looked at as someone who developed a group of marketers who were so grounded in understanding strong brand thinking, but also the commercial impact of that. I also want to be looked at as a transformative marketer. And when I say transformative, I mean it in many ways, whether it's my leadership team that actually has got more women than men.
Yeah.
Because whoever's going to take over from me, 80% of of chance is going to be a woman. Also, if I look at the industry, the road we took Joe Public on our agency for them to become majority black owned, the road we take all our agencies on to say, if you're going to work with Nedbank, you're going to have to reflect the country that you operate in. If I look at the value chain in advertising, going on what we call the production decoupling project, where we've selected 5 fully 100% black owned production companies and ensured that they're going to get business from Nedbank. For me, that's what a transformative marketer looks like. I want to be able to look back where someone says, because Khensani was here, this is the impact that she made.
That's right. And you're already making huge impact with your presence. And I mean, if you could speak to your younger self today, what should you tell her?
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. There are going to be a lot of high highs, but also a lot of low lows.
Yeah.
But you're going to come out of it. And actually, you're going to be a better person because of all your experiences. And so lean into those experiences, lean into the emotions of it. It's all going to be okay, don't worry.
So I've been telling people about my spirituality these days, and I read a book where it says everything we see is an illusion. You just have to be present, live in the now. You are here today. Don't think about tomorrow, what you did yesterday. Be present. And doing that is actually a gift to you, because that's what it's called, present.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And when you're present in that moment, all it does is just grow you.
Yes.
Whether it's a negative or whatever is going on, that's what it grows you.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So right now, we've talked about everything else and we've touched on success, but this one I'm phrasing it differently. So what does success look to Khensani Nobanda?
I think I have put a lot of heavy lifting into my career. I've got to do the same for my health and for my marriage. So I feel like my family, outside of my family and my career, probably on a scale of 1 to 10, and I can say it's going really well. But I do think my health and my husband have taken a little bit of a knock as I've been doing everything that I've been doing. And so when all of that aligns for me, that is what success would look like. Because what is the point of all of this career success if you don't.
You don't have those anchors.
Yeah.
And that's very important, because I say that my children, as much as, like, now we live in a different continent, I have a very, well, when we were young, because I was the stay-at-home father,
Okay.
because of our work, what we do and my ex was doing, I was home with them most of the time. So I had that bond. And the story was that when my daughter was first born, I was starting the photography business at the side at the time, and my ex became the full-time. And I had to stay home because in Canada, childcare is very expensive. And you can't afford a nanny. So most parents decide whoever is making the most income will go to work, and the other one, because it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
And it took me probably 6 months to admit to my parents here in South Africa that I was the stay-at-home father.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't something that I was used to, and having a supportive spouse is very important in any business, in any career. And I think, you are blessed with Nelson, and him being the, leading as a man, also letting you be, but when you come home, you are Kenzie.
Absolutely.
You are the wife.
I'm the wife.
You're not wearing your executive blouse and everything there. And I've had the pleasure of meeting your family.
Yeah.
And I'll say you are blessed.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to have gotten to meet you and get to know your mom and your relatives, and happy to have you here. And I think the fridge is mine.
The fridge is yours, George. It's definitely yours.
So yeah, I'm very, very happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, Khensani Nobanda.
Thank you.